How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Barely Noticed podcast. I am your host, Sick Boy, along with my co host, Crawdaddy.
Yep.
And today is our special guest, a very long awaited time having him on the show. We have JGX.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yes, sir. We've been trying to get it done for a while, and life happens and people get busy, and it is what it is. But we finally got
Yep.
you on, so we will definitely make the most of the hour that we've got. Jay, do you have anything going on that you want to bring up before we start getting into it, before we get some questions?
No, right now on the spot, not that I can think of.
Right now on the spot, off the top of your head at this moment?
Off the
Yeah.
dome.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything. I just can't wait to do this podcast. We've been trying to set this up for 2 months now.
It's like everybody, nearly everybody else we've had on knows you and you've been talked about. You're like the big bad guy in a movie that's like alluded to that you don't see till the very end. Like everybody said something and people were like, "What? Jay? Huh?" And now we finally, all roads lead to Jay, as I said before.
You're like Bigfoot. You just like we couldn't get you.
It took so long, but we got him.
I'm sorry. To be fair, I've watched the podcast with the other guys, Penguin and Wonderwacked and all that. You guys are gonna get like the full lore now that it's gonna be like
we got the
full
mastermind.
circle. Exactly. He collected all the stones of what is our group.
So I guess that would be my first question. I mean, we'll get into how you got started with YouTube and all of that, but my biggest thing, I've heard it from Wonder. I've heard it a little bit from you, but if you wanted to go more in depth, he's sort of like your, and for those listening, we had a guest on before named Wonderwacked, who's a really good friend with Jay. That my question leading into is, you guys are like two peas in a pod, super close friends. You just got done going on a trip to visit him for the first time IRL. Do you want to expand on your relationship a little bit, like how you guys met? If you want to go into your trip a little bit, you know, you're like me and Tyler. Like every video I have, me and Tyler are in it. I would say just about every video you have is you and Wonder. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, beyond like the content, I'll get into like our relationship when it comes to YouTube shortly, but like he's the man. So he's like when you say like two peas in a pod, it pretty much describes it. I mean, it's like he said in his episode, you know, we didn't like we weren't best friends since day one, but the chemistry was there to where we were just talking every day because we were, you know, really focused on YouTube. And I mean, slowly but surely, as the conversations go, you know, you realize that, oh, this guy's actually a really good. Can I swear on this?
yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
He's a really good fucking guy, and he's I don't know. He's I refer to him as Silver. So Silver is Wonderwack. Silver's a bit older than me, and he's a bit of an older brother. That's how I kind of like I see him. He helps me a lot through because you know I'm only 19 years old. I have much to learn,
Right.
and he helps me a lot when it comes to my problems and you know the challenges life presents you sometimes. So you know, he's just a very, very good influence and just an all-around good and funny guy, like a kind soul, if you will.
Right. He seems like the kind of like you guys' relationship. I think how am I trying to put this? Like when you're on the internet, and I think especially with him, he's like very careful about his, what's the word I'm looking for? Anonymity, being
Mhm.
anonymous. It seems like that's something he's very, very careful about, which I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, obviously, because you guys just had that trip where you went to go see him, but it seems like you're the kind of person he can be around where he can just kind of relax and not feel like he has to, you know, have his guard up or anything like that. So to anybody that you could have like that, whether it's a friend that you know in real life or you guys met on the internet first and then, you know, you're going to each other's places and hanging out and that's a good friend to have and it shows that he cares about you a lot. He's a really good guy.
Oh, absolutely. And if I could add just a bit more on that without going in too deep, but it's just being able to because we had some, you know, I've been talking for to him for about a year and a half now, and I just met him, right? Like IRL.
Right.
For those watching, I went to his house. I'm Canadian. I went to the States to go visit him for a week, and it went fabulously. But we're just, I guess, we're kind of similar in a way that we just listen and we don't judge, right? Because we're two very different person. and we just we don't have any judgments. We can have enough humility to let the other person talk, which I think a lot of people could use. I was just thinking about that at work, about how like, talking to Penguin and Silver and even you, Sick Boy, like the first time I talked to you was like, we were just, I guess trying to um figure each other out, and we're just listening and being humble. And I think that goes a long way.
Right, something that a lot more people could use is just listening to one another and kind of deflating egos a little bit.
And because sorry to cut you off, but like we both have pretty big egos and we do clash a lot. um Even though we were glazing each other up constantly, like we've clashed a lot, but we just had that maturity, I guess, to come back to it and then a few minutes later be like, yeah, that was stupid, you know.
Right, right. So
um,
we'll get started with your YouTube journey, and I'll come back to him later on because I've got some other questions that don't specifically pertain to him, but just kind of like you guys' relationship together. So obviously we'll start with like the cliche. What got you into YouTube? Like, was there a YouTuber that one day you watch and you were just like, oh, I've got to be like him or her, or what was the event that got you?
so like the canon event that really triggered it was me and my brother. we we were living in a small village up north, in Canada, where there was only like 2,000 people, and the village was just like one road. And I would play, uh, you know, uh, in the fucking living room, and Moose would be outside. So that's, you can
Wow.
make yourself an image. Like, yeah, it was in the wilderness, and we had a huge. What are these box computers called? Like the old like office computers that were like box, like they were 2 feet deep.
I know I can't
Um
think of the exact term off the top of my head, but I
Yeah.
know what you're talking
T
about.
TI TS something. Yeah. So we had that, and my brother, through the computer of my mom, I think, heard of Subnautica. If you know what that is.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Like, Subnautica had just been announced, and I'm like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 years old. I don't think I'm going to school yet, and we really want to get Subnautica. And then eventually we get a laptop, and we go on YouTube for tutorials. And that's literally what like introduced me to YouTube. And I just like, I don't remember too much, but I just kept going on it, and eventually I find Markiplier. It's
There
very
you
similar to
go.
Penguin's story, but like ever since I was like 6 years old, I've been like, I mean, before it was much more, but I've been on and off watching just Markiplier. Like,
Right.
he's the one that like the comedy, the humor on YouTube. He was the first one, and then it just diverged to the classic road of GTA, and then Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and then eventually Logan Paul came. I was a fan of Logan Paul for a while because I was
Oh.
12.
You were a Maverick?
Oh,
Bro,
no.
I was in the Low Gang.
Oh,
And
Oh.
no.
which I could touch on Logan Paul for a little bit later on, but and that's literally like I started watching YouTube so much. I say this often. I probably have more time watching YouTube than I have my talking to my own parents,
Oh
because
my gosh.
well, my parents worked really, really hard, so they would come in just later in the night. They
Oh,
would come
okay,
in and then we
okay.
eat dinner, and then we would talk for an hour, and then the day would be over. So it's not like a toxic thing, not at all. It's
Okay.
just they were very busy. Um, so yeah, so I guess that's really where it started, and that urge to be like, I mean, like people on YouTube came like secondhand, I guess.
Right.
Uh, and then I don't know if you want me to get into it, but that's like where I kind of started making content on and off. Should I go into that rabbit
Yeah,
hole?
yeah, if you'd like to. I was gonna say that Markiplier, PewDiePie, and Jacksepticeye, I swear, are like the gateway drugs for people who start doing content creation. Like every
Yeah.
time you talk to somebody about, oh, how'd you get started or what were you interested in? Obviously, there's other people that can get you interested in it, but those like three guys, I would say, kind of boiled, they're like the holy trinity of YouTube. Like everybody you talk to, other big creators who are much bigger than us, always bring them up. And I guess we'll touch on it a little bit later about you living in Canada and whatnot. When you say a village, you're not, that's not just another way of you saying town. You mean like a village, right? Like in the
Oh yeah,
wilderness.
yeah. So imagine like mountainous, like very mountainous, rocky pine trees everywhere,
Wow, that is
Oh,
I'm
and
we can imagine pine trees.
yeah,
and
that is so interesting to me.
like 6 foot of snow, in the
God.
winter.
Are your
Obviously,
parents from there, or did you guys immigrate from somewhere else, or how did you end up
no.
growing up there?
Um, well, both of my parents are French Canadian, and
Okay,
I've lived throughout. I moved a lot because of certain uh situations.
right.
But I kind of like been all over the province. So I'm a authentic French Canadian because how in the states, different part of the states have like could literally be different. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I've kind of seen all of my province, if you will. A province, by the way, is a state, but for Canada, for those
right,
who don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but absolutely.
Is it just you, or do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have
Oh, well, you said your brother earlier, duh, but your the whole of your family is what I'm getting at.
yeah, no, I have well, my parents are separated, but
Okay,
uh nothing depressing there, but my I've lived all my life with my big brother who's a year older than me. And then I have a younger half brother who's 5 years younger than me, I mean. And I'm currently living with him now, so shout out Wheezy.
do either one of them share YouTube interest, or is it kind of they just see what happens with you, or
I mean, my relationship with my brothers is kind of special. I don't really to I talk to the younger one because I live with him, but we don't really, I guess, merge hobbies too much. I don't we keep our distance, I guess.
right?
Uh, not out of a toxic thing. It's just we don't. When it comes to my older brother, I don't get to see him too often because he we don't live together.
Yeah.
And for the most part, my YouTube, I don't. I the news got around to where he knew, but I didn't even want my family to know.
Oh,
I really
wow.
wanted to keep this private. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll still go on into your YouTube things, but I guess we can kind of delve into that now because you brought it up. We've talked about it in other episodes with other content creators about how open or closed they are about their YouTube stuff. So are you like incredibly hush hush on yours then?
I really wanted to be hush hush, up until I got like out of the house, just for like safety reasons,
Okay.
because like, yeah, I don't wanna bring any danger to my family because it sounds delusional, but on that slight chance that I do blow up, I don't want my parents to be in trouble when it comes to creeps or anything like that,
Yeah, people are
or
crazy, man. You never know.
absolutely. And there's I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just kind of YouTube is like my own thing, and I get to live. It's like it's one of the first things in my life where I have complete control over,
Right, yeah.
and nobody has a say so in any of it. So it was kind of like this is me, and I guess it's just something I wanted to keep to myself. For a multitude of reasons that I will not get into because we're getting into my personal life.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
We
yeah.
can stop. It's fine.
Oh, no, no, absolutely, it's just that's how it goes.
Right. So I guess we'll circle back to where we were initially going. You had started with how you got into YouTube, who were your influences. So you were saying
Mhm.
now about like how you got into the kind of content creation you're into, and then you said about Markiplier, you watched him, but are there still any people now that influence you or kind of have a hand in what you're doing? What's like your creative process?
I mean, I've the only inspiration I get nowadays is from, like, my circle right now. So from Wonder the Penguin to, like, you, Sick Boy, and a guy that we would like some of the guys we just met, Table and Aqua.
Uh-huh.
Like, I get most of my inspiration from you guys just because like, you were directly, like, I guess, making you guys are the closest to my content. I don't know how else to say it.
I understand,
Um,
yeah.
but I spent so much time on YouTube as a kid that, like, I've, from Fitz to Dude Perfect to what I call the big 3, the Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie,
Right.
to Wobblecop to I mean, I'm subscribed to, like, close to 1,000 channels
Oh,
on
wow.
my,
Damn.
yeah, on my, iPad 'cause, I was an iPad kid.
Nothing wrong with that. At least you own it.
Actually, no. Let me say that I was a Wii kid and an iPad teenager.
You watch
Stop.
YouTube on the Wii?
No, no, no. I watched YouTube on we had an iPod that we shared.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, YouTube on the Wii? I didn't even know that was a thing. I was missing
No.
out, bro. I had Netflix on the
I'm
Wii. Did you ever have Netflix on the Wii?
no, we were too young to know what Netflix was.
Okay, I digress. Anyway, go ahead.
What were we talking about?
You were talking about your process and who
Oh
you watch
yeah.
and
Yeah. So like I've watched like everything from anywhere. So that inspiration, like I already got. Like once when I was watching him when I was 12, 13, I was already like coming up with ideas of like content I could do for myself. And right now it's really just like, you guys and the people I hang around with, which is cool. I think it's a good way to get inspiration because I'm surrounded by like a dozen of minds that are all different and have their own creativity, I guess.
yeah, it makes sense. I find it interesting. Some people, so like the example I take from it, there's a guy who is a rapper who has since passed away, who is one of my favorite of all time, like very tasteful music, very deep, like stories behind how he came up with songs and beats are like incredible. His name's MF Doom, if you've ever heard of him or if anybody else has ever heard of him. So he had
Hmm.
a interview one time where they were talking about his influences and oh, you're one of the, I don't know if I'd say biggest, but like an underground rap. He's like very, very well known. So we'll just say that. They're like, oh, you're one of the biggest underground rappers. People love you. So who do you listen to in your free time? And they're waiting for him to say like Kanye or whatever. And he was
Yeah.
like, I don't listen to rap at all in my free time. I listen to freeform jazz. I listen to like rock, like some stuff that has nothing to do with the genre, right? And I
Yeah.
find that interesting with some people is like I have probably 3 or 4 funny moments gaming YouTubers that I don't watch every single video they come out with, but I'll kind of keep up with them to see where the direction of like that genre of content creation is going. But my
Mm.
YouTube is like now I used to only watch funny moment stuff, and that's what's gotten me into where I'm at now. But now I'll have like 45-minute long video essays on the current climate of politics in America. Like it's so completely different to what I make on my own time. But I also think it's a good thing that you're not completely funneling everything into just watching funny moments or stuff that's similar to yours because you could pick up small things from different stuff to add to your videos. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I think a part of it is like so I'll watch like a game theory video that interests me every now and then,
Right.
or like a Markiplier video that seems interesting to me. Just because like that's like nostalgia. That's like picking up an old game and playing again. But the only thing I'm thinking when I watch like I click like on a Swagger Souls or a J Schlatt thumbnail that looks interesting, and then I actually watch the video, is like this may sound delusional, but it's like, oh damn, I have to be better than that. Like I dissect the video and I'm like, okay, that's the competition right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can't really see the magic. It really isn't there anymore for me, you know?
Yeah, because
Um
you're paying attention at where the bar is being set, and like you said, you're dissecting it. It's funny that you say that because I view it the exact same way. Like I used to enjoy watching funny moments videos, and I still do. I mean, it's not like all the fun is sucked out of it, but if you want to go on to be like a professional basketball player, or you want to be a professional soccer player, part of the way that you learn and grow is you watch professional soccer games. You see how those guys handle, like you learn from watching the game. So I apply that
mm,
same kind of phrase to like you and me is like we learn from watching the game, so to speak. Like you watch a Swagger Souls video, or I'll watch Smitty, or who else do I frequently watch? I guess like Fitz is still kind of coming out with new stuff, like old Fitz videos, and you look
yeah.
at how they use subtitling, you look at how they cut the video, the comedic timing, things like that. So I am 100% on the same train as you about like, dissecting videos now. I totally get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a it's making me think because we're kind of like it's been a subject of conversation within the group a lot, like ever since I met Wonderwack. about like originality versus like playing the game, right?
Right.
Doing what you want or catering. And since Silver struggles a lot with like, because he really wants to do what like he does, but it's not necessarily good for the algorithm, right?
Right.
And sometimes that just kills one of his videos, even though like there's like 3 people who just commented like, if this was gonna get good numbers, this would skyrocket. Like if people actually got eyes on this.
Right.
Um, but my I well my I just like there's a quote that's like, if you get inspiration from one person, you're a copy and you're a fraud. If you get inspiration from a dozen people, you're a genius. It's like an art saying, and it's a saying for art, and I think you can apply it for YouTube. Is you grab everything you can from every genre, and if I want to give an example, Fitz is very like tell the joke and then laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's timings with the jokes, and the jokes are funny, but you won't see a fast cut or like how Exo Penguins like he'll scream, and as he screams, he just cuts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't see that in a Fitz video, right?
Right.
But you'll see that in some 200K meme horror channel. I don't know who I have in mind right now, but
I
there's a
understand.
guy
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
doing it. So really trying to, I guess my mentality is just through all that inspiration, I can find my own voice.
Yeah.
Ev-
And no one can accuse you of not doing that, because I even remember saying it to you sometime. I was like, why don't you play the games that are hot? Like, why don't you play the stuff that's big? And you, like you said, you are very much about sticking to your guns of uploading what you want to do and putting up what you want to play. Uh,
mm,
to what you were saying about Fitz, I know because I listened to their podcast. I've started listening to it. I'm like 4 years too late, but he's very like comedy oriented, like comedian oriented. So exactly how you said, he's very much like set up punchline. And
mhm,
I would say his videos focus more on the conversation between who's playing rather than what's on the gameplay. And I
mhm.
think I'd be correct in my assessment that your videos are, I don't know, would you say yours focus more on the gameplay, or you focus more on the conversation?
I think, I mean, it depends on the video itself, but like I think it's a healthy balance of 50-50.
Right.
Um, we're like as a group, we're getting more and more comfortable. Me and the boys, and like our comedy is like really improving. Uh, I don't know if you've seen the Club Penguin video.
I
Uh,
saw it.
but I don't know how you what was your thoughts on the video, but we had a joke where one of our guys named Senile, he just wore a blonde wig and just ran around and say, "I am Owen Wilson" in a Icelandic voice, accent, and we kind of like reused that joke over in a video, and at the end we're up on the stage, and then we finally hit that joke. So we actually had like proper comedy and like stand up like improv.
Right. Yeah.
Uh so that's like like that video for me is like a really good evolution of like skits. Um and Silver has so much, like he has such funny reactions that I like, you can't not, make the video out of the gameplay, because
Right.
like
Yeah.
he's just like, so Wonderwax is like all of my shorts, and he's like half of the jokes in my videos.
Uh-huh.
So because we're just reacting and making something within the game, we're not setting up any skits.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think it's a healthy mix of both. I'm really happy with where it's at right now. Not that I had any direction to begin with, but yeah,
I feel like
it's a
at
good question.
the rate that you guys are going, have you ever heard of Oni Plays?
I feel like I have.
It's like a group of guys who will game, or like one dude is playing a game and then they'll probably watch him by like via Discord or something, and they just kind of talk and like make commentary on the game, or will make jokes and whatnot. And I think a direction your channel's going that I would fit for you is if or when you and your group's comedy becomes, you guys are able to really hone it in and you understand each other and you're just riffing off of one another, and what's the word I'm thinking of where you make up jokes on the spot? Improv. You guys are
Yeah.
improvising and being able to just feed on that energy. You very well, I think your channel could become one of those channels where you guys could literally just play anything, but people are pressing on the video for you guys. You know what I mean? Like you could have any
Oh
game
yeah.
on in the background, you could be doing anything, but because of how you react to the game, or even if you're talking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're playing, people aren't pressing on the video to see how JGX plays, I don't know, Lego Fortnite. They're
Yeah.
pressing on the video because it's like, oh, we want to listen to JGX. You know what I mean? It's like there's kind of that
Yeah.
difference. And you hit the nail right on the head. That's what I was going to bring up next. I have not seen every single video you've watched, and I'll see bits and pieces here and there. I would say that you can tell the improvement of you guys kind of gelling together more, and I'm
Hmm.
sure obviously editing makes an effect, has an input to that to some degree. But I would agree with you that you guys' comedy and you're, kind of riffing off each other, especially that game we played together the other day. What was it? Just stand or act natural, just act natural.
Yeah.
That was my first time playing with all of you guys as a group, and obviously it's going to be different because I'm not used to you guys. I'm not part of your group, so of course it's going to take me time to get settled and whatnot. But you guys seemed like you had a pretty good pace and understanding, and
Oh yeah.
when to jump in and when not to. And you guys have a good kind of like team chemistry building up. You can tell.
No, absolutely. I mean, me and Silver setting up a joke. We when we see an opportunity, we lock in and we deliver. But like you said, that takes time to build up, and every each of our own members, including you, we're all at like I guess different pace. When it comes
Right,
to like
right.
the chemistry, right? Um, and it's just everything has I think we have a sense of humor where we allow everybody to shine, right?
Right.
Because when you set up a joke, you can see, who can slam dunk it,
Yeah.
or who can pass it, or who can, it's almost like an art, if you will.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to say. We just had you were saying something that we just had a conversation. Oh yeah, you said like how like people click the video for us, right?
Right.
We like that's me and Wonderwack's premise. We wanna be that niche, if you will. Like we're the niche. I know it sounds very narcissistic when I say it like that, but uh, on YouTube right now, it's a very uphill battle because everybody wants to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think we have such an ecstatic and like unordinary group that we may have a shot at it. You know,
Right.
and I think one thing is that is gonna save us is like the viewers really appreciate like the effort and like I guess the authenticity of like the group.
Right.
And when I say the group, it's mostly me and Wonder and Penguin slowly but surely because I've been making content with Wonder for a year.
Yeah, understandably, yeah.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head.
And like going back to the comedy aspect of it, it's the same thing with comedians. Like there is a million bajillion comedians, but you have to find that audience that I don't want to say you pander to, but like you resound with. You might, if I ask you who your favorite comedian is, you might give me an answer where I'm like, oh, I absolutely hate this guy, but I love this guy. And you're like, okay, well, I hate that guy, but I love my guy. Like it's incredibly the comedic art form. And I think when it comes to YouTube, especially because it's so oversaturated with people doing the same thing, once you can kind of build up that audience of people who appreciate specifically your content, or more importantly, like they're buying into JGX. It's not the JGX funny moments, it's buying into JGX to a degree, I would say the comedian. So
Hmm.
it's incredibly subjective thing, and like you said, it's a very difficult uphill battle, especially in a market that is so oversaturated. And I think that's a
Hmm.
reason why Penguin is very effective to what he's at. Is out of all of us, he has the most subscribers, and he's growing pretty steadily, I would say. But he's kind of in that more slimmed down horror scary game medium where
Hmm.
it's not as broad as the funny moments, because like everybody wants to do funny moments, everybody can do funny moments, and he's got a more specific audience, and he's kind of been on the Five Nights at Freddy's route, which is even a more slimmed down, shaved down audience. So
Yeah.
it is a battle for sure. I totally understand it.
Yeah, and it's also a passionate audience. Uh, and it's interesting to see where he goes with that. Exo Penguins, for those who don't know, has a niche of horror, and it's interesting to see the path he comes down, or the path he chose, like where it's gonna end up, right? Because me and Silver were building, like, I guess, our brand off of us, right? But Penguin was like something, he was just like, I'm tired of, like, working, 10 hours to make a video or however long, and just not getting as much recognition as it should probably get. He
Right.
says, I'm gonna go in a niche, and once I get big, popular enough on that niche, either I'll diverge or make a second channel. And I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna work. So it's interesting to see how, like, he's gonna, I guess, execute that idea, you know?
Right, because it can go either way. Either Penguin gets big off of, and this isn't just him. There's plenty of other YouTubers who this happened to, blah, blah, who this has happened to. I cannot talk. Where you grow your fan base off of one specific game, and then maybe one day, Penguin or whoever it is goes, screw it. I'm tired of playing scary games, Five Nights at Freddy's games. I want to play something different. So you start playing something different that you enjoy and you like, and then your audience will either be like, okay, well, this is cool. He's branching out, doing something different, or it's like, what the heck, you're Exopeng when you're supposed to be playing scary games.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, so, like, one way you could look at it is, like, let's say he gains 100,000 subs from pure horror, right?
Uh huh.
And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna do a second channel where it's funny moments and whatever I want, or whatever he decides to diverge to, right?
Right.
Even if, like, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people of those 100K actually follow him, like, that is a massive gain, right?
Right.
But the idea of, like, most of your brand just not corresponding, I guess, or just, like, most of the followers you'll get will not like that switch,
Right.
I click on a Mr. Beast video to see people suffer. I don't wanna see gaming. I don't wanna see, you know, uh minors getting involved, but apparently that's a thing now. But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a good route to go to, but you have to, like, be really aware of, like, what's happening, because you can't be like, all right, I'm gonna switch to anime sims, dating sim games, and then 50 people follow you, and you're like, oh, what's happening, like, and you have a mental breakdown. But you got to realize it's a good way to go, because you now have 50 more people than you would have had.
Yeah, and like, even to speak to your point, even Jimmy, Mr. Beast, even Jimmy has like multiple channels where he does different stuff. He doesn't just
Oh
throw
yeah.
everything onto one. He has a Mr. Beast gaming channel. He has a Mr. Beast philanthropy. He has Mr. Beast this, Mr. Beast that, and he's able to, like you said, not turn off certain viewers of like, well, why the heck is he doing this? It's like, okay, well, if you don't want to watch Mr. Beast throwing contestants into a giant pit and falling off of 200-foot buildings, then you can watch him playing Minecraft. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to watch him giving nice stuff to people in Africa, you can do that. There's different
Yeah.
mediums for different things. So, um,
Yeah. And if you don't mind, like, going back to, like, Penguin, like, I'm saying, like, I was talking, like, as if he's stuck in a niche. I think he's entertaining enough and funny enough where people can latch onto him and not just the horror,
yeah,
to where, like, he could easily get that fan base. I don't think he's stuck in any way, shape, or form.
yeah. Like we spoke earlier, people watch the video for Penguin. It's not watching for the Five Nights at Freddy's content or for
Yeah.
whatever else it is. People like him for him because we've had. He tells me he's stockpiling up footage because he's getting ready to leave for school, so he might start putting other stuff on his channel, or maybe he'll make a second one. I'm not sure, but we've had him in, or at least for my channel, I've had him in a CS video, which did really well, and I thought he was hilarious. I mean, I love Penguin. I think he's really funny. He's a cool guy to be around. We played Cards Against Humanity night. Scribble.io, Gartic Phone, and he was super funny in it. And that's something totally different than what he's used to doing. So I agree with you to that fact that I think people would buy into the Exo Penguin brand of like him as a person. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. I if I could just say a fun fact about like the group is like the like both like Wonderwacked, especially Wonder, but like Wonderwacked and Penguin are both like they're just as funny offline than they are online. If not funnier. I'm not saying like I think Sick Boy, you two are also funny offline, but like I will get like we'll start bits. We're not even recording. We're just sitting around and we'll start bits and we'll end up, laughing on the floor for no
Right.
reason. And that's like a real privilege because I get to see a side that, I wouldn't get to see if I hadn't met him.
Right.
And Silver, it's really, he's always ready for like a joke
Oh,
or like
he's so
really got that
fast.
energy.
He's so fast.
Oh heck yeah. And I guess Penguin, like, he's funny, but like every now and then, I don't know if like it's something he eats, the sugar and some Skittles or something. When like there's a flip and he just like
Yeah, there is a
one-liners,
switch. Yep.
he just becomes so funny, bro. And I'm like, bro, that's so cool to have around me. And I mean, even you guys are, I mean, you guys have a very different humor. I guess well, it's not a different humor, different tone, right?
Right.
But it's like a privilege to be around all these people and being like in the past like couple podcasts, like the Glaze was crazy for me. But I'm like, bro, I'm just here enjoying the show. I'm surrounded by all these like awesome creators that are probably gonna make it just like off of sheer talent,
Right, yeah. It's fortunate to be involved with those people in the first place.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll
That's my point.
we'll stop the Penguin fan club after this because I swear I've been talking about him more than you so far. But
It's fine.
there was a night
You-
that I didn't record where me and him played CS together.
Mhm.
And he's very witty, and like you said, those times where it's like you're not I mean, I don't know if either one of you were, but I wasn't recording for a video. That was us just having fun playing CS, and we played for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and that was a great time of like just getting
Oh yeah.
to bro down and hang out. And then I might upload it, but that Cards Against Humanity footage, the first time we did it, something was wrong with my mic. Something happened. The footage got scrapped, and I had to get rid of it.
Dang.
Penguin recorded it and sent it to me, but it's from his point of view, so I don't know how well that would work for me uploading it. But what you were saying about him, like where he gets that switch flipped, is we started playing the game and he was like, "How do you play this? How do you do this?" And then after one round, he was playing the most like inhumane human filth, like the funniest cards. It was so like you said, that switch just flipped, and I was like, "Penguin, what is wrong with you?" Like he was doing some really funny stuff.
Oh no, absolutely. I
Anyway,
was playing.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was playing CS:GO like 2 days ago. It's so funny you're talking about this, and the exact same thing happened. So I just wanna. That's funny you mentioned that.
Tyler, I know I've been speaking Japanese. I've just been yapping away this whole time. Do you have any questions or anything that was particularly on your mind for Jay?
I got a question. I got a question.
Just kidding. Shut up, Tyler. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm a middle child. I'm used to it.
Uh, hey, brother, me too.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, being the sandwich sucks,
It does.
but through the ashes we rise.
Something
Yes.
like that.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping
okay.
so.
Tyler,
Yes.
will you be making content anytime soon?
Yes, actually.
Oh,
Hey, no, you don't upload much either.
No,
your
no, no.
your consistency's not great either. I've
Bro.
been busy.
yeah, no, I've seen better days, but no, I'm excited to see what like, bro, like it's an extra channel, like it's cool, and
Yeah. I've just been working a lot this summer. Like once I'm back at school, I can actually I'll be weekly.
nice. Well, can't wait for that. And I wanted to say, like, Sick Boy, like,
Yes, sir.
I've like the quality in your videos is like, bro, like every video is getting better, like every time.
I
Like,
appreciate it. That's the idea. I don't want to be stagnant.
but you're also posting a lot more, which is crazy. So keep up that grind, brother. Really cool to see. And I think the viewers, the YouTube algorithm will like that a lot too. So
I appreciate it. I was for a long time I've been wanting to do it, and then I was kind of inconsistent. I was like, I'll do it twice a month, maybe once a month, and then I was like, you know what? Let's really just settle down for the grind and let's see what happens. So I've been trying to set the challenge of a podcast once every I'm sorry, every Friday a podcast episode, and then a channel video every Friday. And it's been a
mm,
good challenge to set. I remember one time I had a friend who was a painter, and I wanted her to paint a painting for my dad for Christmas. And it was pretty far in advance for Christmas, and her name was Marcy. And I was like, "Hey, Marcy, I need you to paint this." Showed her the picture, whatever, and she was like, "Okay, when do you want it done by?" And I was like, "Oh, well, just get it to me whenever you want." And she was like, "No, I need to have a deadline so I know to work on it and to get it done." And ever since
mm.
then, I've been like, "That's true," because if somebody doesn't give you a deadline or you don't have something to work towards, you'll keep putting it off, or like, "Oh, I could do it later, or I could do this." So setting that deadline of like, sick boy, you have to have this video out on Friday. I like that, lighting the fire under my butt and like keeping myself accountable. I enjoy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But anyway,
Um,
Tyler, did you have a question you wanted to ask him?
Okay, I'm gonna preface this by Jay. I love you, man, but I watched that VR video when you were trying to pick up chicks, and Jay, you gotta work on the Riz, man. I was
Bro.
cringing. You went, "So, how long have you been a woman?" And you just
Oh
instantly
man.
leaves. And I was like, "Oh,
To be fair, that's a joke stolen straight from the do. I'm gonna
oh,
out
okay,
myself out.
Oh, you
okay." It
dirty
was for the,
dog.
it was a bit. It was. I thought you were being like, "Oh,
You think I no, but I would be. I have horrible so I've been to a lot of different schools, and two things about me. I have negative aura because I say everything that pops out to that pops in my mind, right? And we could talk about a bit more on that
The
later.
intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, which sucks because I say everything that comes to mind, but I don't want people to hate me. But that's not how that works.
Right,
If you
yeah.
take space in a room, people are not gonna like that, right? Even though I don't mean any ill will, I'm not a bad guy, I'd like to think. And just when it comes to I've played sports all my life, get me in a room with a dude, pause. I could I can socialize with him and you'll be my friend in a second. Like a girl talks to me, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I truly don't.
Brain shuts off.
that's when you gotta, bite your lip, do the fuckboy face,
Oh, shut
stroke your
up.
chin."
I've
That's where
always I've had this conversation with my fiance that like I don't know, I don't want to speak for you guys, but my dad was in the military and then he was the one that provided for our family. So he was at work all the time. So I have a good relationship with my dad and so on and so forth. But I was around my mom way more than I was around my dad. And I actually have an opposite thing where I maybe because I was brought up by a woman and primarily, lived my life being taught by and learning from a woman. I have a much easier time talking to women than guys. I actually get more nervous about starting a conversation with like a random dude or trying to make friends with random guys than I do girls. I don't know what it is about that, but I'm like the complete opposite.
I'm sorry to tell you, man, but that's gay.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
my situation's like Jay's, bro. I was raised around a bunch of dudes, so like sometimes women be coming up, I'm like, "Hi."
How about maybe
The thing is, I was also raised by my mother. I just recently moved in with my father. I have a
okay.
good relationship with both of them, but you know what it is?
What is it?
Is when you're like the new kid in school, like you have just no friends, right?
Okay.
And you're not cool, right? And that's the primary reason. That's the primary, I guess, goal in high school is to be cool, right? And have
Right.
that status. I was in very superficial schools. I went to both private and public, more so public than private, or was it? I don't know. And for some reason, it was just superficial, and I never got by the time I started making friends, I'll just switch to a new school, So I never
Oh.
had friends that are girls, you know? So it's just
Okay.
it's more of a, you know, the well, how does the expression go? Like play the card that or the hand that you're dealt is a
Right. Yeah,
bad
yeah.
hand. So, you know, got to step up the game. I know, but I can make jokes. I can make people laugh. So like if I could be like, so how long have you been a girl? And
Right.
just be like, that's crazy. Maybe, you know, one woman out of 100 will find that funny.
You try to draw them in by the goofiness, the funny factor.
That woman in VR was not one of the 100.
Okay, to be fair, the other one was laughing, and I remember that
True.
moment vividly
True.
because that's the first time I ever talked to a woman, and that's colorized
Just
on camera.
Jay like remembers that as the best moment of his life.
core memory, man.
I printed it, put it on my wall.
Moving on with your YouTube story for your most recent sub special, you shaved your head, correct? That was the most
Oh
recent
yeah.
one you did, right? Okay. I've been thinking a lot for my 100, what I want to do, kind of been toying with things, trying to figure out what I want. You just got over 1,000. It's a two-part question. When you get to your next sub special, do you know what you want to do for it? And when would that be? Would it be 1,500? Would it be 2,000? What does that look like? If you even thought of that yet.
Balls.
Okay, fair enough. Next question.
No. So damn, I feel like I'm talking a lot, which is cool.
No,
'cause
that's the
never
point
been
of
a
you being
guest.
on here. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason of like the shaving my head was it was one to get out of my comfort zone, to detach myself from such trivial matters such as your hair, and two,
Uh-huh.
it's a great thumbnail, you know, just
Yeah.
seeing a bald guy.
Yeah.
And like if you see like a 30-second long video or a 2-minute long video of a guy like with a bald, you know, head saying he's gonna shave it, you're gonna click on this just to see the effect, you know. Um, so yeah, that's literally the only reason. And I don't go to the barber, so I just literally cut my hair once a year. And turns out that once I hit my 100 subs, shaved my hair. A year later, I had long hair, shaved my subs again because I hit 1,000. So it just kind of worked out, you know. Now if it was gonna be like the next one, I would probably like exhaust one of my creative ideas that I have in the back of my brain. Uh, I think a lot. I try to be a very conscious person.
Okay.
Not like in a superior way, like a white knight, if you will. Just trying to be aware of what's around me, whether that's like quite literally reality, my existence, or like the universe, or like the reason why people act a certain way and yada yada, and you know, the way people behave, and I would like to do like maybe like a 5 minute like objective view on the world about how like very cinematic, very moody message to the world about like, hey, maybe we shouldn't hate each other. We're literally a grain of sand hurling around a ball of fire, and I'm making it go faster. So it'd probably be something like that, like just I don't know how else to put it, but
More of like a heart to heart.
yeah, and just realize like that's an idea I had in my head. I want to do that, and I know when I'm gonna like if I ever get to 1 million, well, I'm gonna like stream that like once I hit it, and I'm gonna cry on stream.
That a boy.
It's all visioned out.
It's a great thumbnail.
If you ever need help crying, I can just like insult you very badly. I
I
got
thought
you,
you were
dog.
just gonna hit me.
I mean that works too. I can
Or
just
that.
abuse you.
We can come to your remote little Canadian village and we'll just beat the piss out of you and then get you to laugh or cry.
Yeah, if you can get through the Canadian border, which is just a bunch of bears and moose and a flock of geese, you might not get through the geese.
Yeah,
I'm
geese
gonna
are
get
mean.
Justin Trudeau to beat you
That is
until you cry.
Wow, that would be. Could you imagine for like your 1 million sub special, like you're streaming and there's a knock at the door and Justin Trudeau, you open the door, Justin's there, he kicks you in the nuts and leaves.
Bro,
Dude,
that'd be
that's
insane.
iconic.
Once
Bro,
again,
that's like
the thumbnail
world
potential
news.
is just ridiculous.
Bro, I'd be on CNN, the Bangladesh Times, the Russian Times. I don't know like what they're called. Bro, I'd be everywhere on the planet. Justin Trudeau came in my house and just I like your cut G and just smacks.
It would be that,
Yeah.
like how a video starts where you're sitting looking at the camera and you'd be like, "For my 1 million sub special, Justin Trudeau kicked me in the nuts," and then, like, the video starts. That would be once the thumbnail potential is just insane.
Yeah, I can already see the image. You know how you do like the first few seconds of your video is like the what's to come in the video,
The hook, yeah.
and it's literally just Trudeau just opening my door, kicking me in the nuts, and I do
Oh!
oh, and then fast cut. You know.
Speaking of thumbnails, I've been told you're a thumbnail god, Jay.
Uh, I appreciate that. I'm getting better. But I try. I try. I appreciate the compliment. Where did you get that information?
Penguin and Wonder.
Yeah. Uh, Shout out Cat. Cat is a guy that we worked with. Me and Silver, a great guy. He just started working IRL and got busy with stuff, so we don't really talk to him anymore. But he taught me pretty much like most of what I need for my thumbnail. And yeah, I just try to mimic what's popular. When it comes to trends or like if you like I don't know, if you go to my channel, like I'm not wanting to plug my stuff, but like every thumbnail for like different games is in a style of thumbnail that that game has for YouTube. So I'll just give an example. Let's say Five Nights at Freddy's, like every Five Nights at Freddy's thumbnail is one of the animatronics, really huge, face front to the thumbnail, and
Yeah.
pretty much nothing else.
Right.
Well, I'll do the same thing, you know. Obviously, it's a yoink and twist. I'll put my version on it, and it's really mimicking the game. And obviously, there's a technical aspect to it, right? Like how to use shadows, foregrounds, glows, uh,
Exactly, yep.
how you can trick the eye. For any if somebody's watching that's an up and coming content creator, my tip is if with your thumbnail you can get somebody to look at your thumbnail and like make him scroll away, but be like, oh wait, what was this? And make him look back at your thumbnail. Like if a person can look at your thumbnail more than like 0.5 seconds to 2 seconds, any more than that, you're already winning, you know?
Right.
So that's what I try to do. So yeah, it's just a lot of it is observing the game.
Besides having the obvious passion to do YouTube, that was something that I was personally, I guess I'd say, impressed about in our first initial conversations when we had just met each other is I mean, I know this might be a wild comparison, but this is the only person I could think of, sort of like Mr. Beast. He's very, very analytical about YouTube and into the very, very finer details of numbers, thumbnail styles, what you put in a description, hashtags, keywords. I think all of us are, because when you're a content creator, obviously those are things that you have to care about for your stuff to be successful. But
Mm.
I was sort of naive to that when I had first started. I understood the importance of it and that you should do it. And, there's always things to work on. But even from the very first time you and I spoke, it's very evident that it is you. I mean, we talked about how you dissect videos, but how YouTube works for you. Like, you don't work for YouTube, you try to make YouTube work for you. Like, you're very scientific in how you pick apart your title and your thumbnail and your description. And like I said, it was an impressive thing to stumble upon or to hear from you. Did you have like a really big learning curve where you were like, oh crap, I need to be doing this? Like, were you getting barely anything and then one day you tried something and then the views skyrocketed, or what was the process with that?
Um, well, I think there's a couple of factors that like it's almost like pieces to the puzzle that eventually made like everything like come together. One is like I like throughout my childhood I had different channels with very shitty thumbnails, but at least I was doing them and seeing a direct effect. Because when you spend like 6 hours making a video and it gets quite literally 17 views, 2 to 17 views, like I've done that like a lot for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is how it is, but it is like, bro, you don't want that to happen. You want to maximize. And obviously, for those who, I just want to preface those who want to really do it for the passion and do what they want. There's a real merit to that. But I'm trying to get a bit of success off of this, and you got to play the game, unfortunately.
Yep.
And that experience plus my, I guess, personal ideas of my experience on YouTube, and again, Foreign Cat, the guy that I shouted out, like once he so he's can't remember the country. He's a country close to Russia, but he's from there, and with a thick, like not Slovenian, but
Slavic?
yeah, Slavic accent. He was like, Jay, just make it bigger. It's not good. The corners are terrible. And he didn't tell me too much. He just taught me how to do outer glow and like make it bigger, put this in certain place. And he's like, Jay, sometimes people like this and sometimes people like that. And right then and there, it clicked. And then it was like, oh, okay. I see thumbnails differently. So that if you're talking about like a switch, like that happened like 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. Um, and it's just being like, oh yeah, everything needs to be big, everything needs to be understandable. Just imagine you're presenting an image to a child. That's essentially it,
Right.
an expression. There's an expression that goes like, a good way to see if you truly understand a subject is if you can explain it to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So a thumbnail is kind of like that, but not exactly, because you're also just trying to hook people in, right?
Uh-huh.
And I say that, and I still have videos that do like 50 views, 100 views, and much lower, So I'm not the almighty. I do appreciate the compliment, but I try my best.
That darn algorithm, man. You never know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time here. Normally, I wouldn't mind us going a little bit longer, but we have a session set up after this with a few more people that we want to do, and obviously we want to keep to that time and get it done. So I'm sure we can have you back another time, and I feel like we could have talked for an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. Like the flow of conversation's been pretty good, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, there's some stuff I want to talk with, like just like how me and you came about. So we'll definitely leave that for some other time, I guess.
yeah, we'll definitely get more into it next time. We'll have you come back. But as always, per usual, I wanted to end with our question that we try to, or questions that we ask our guests, because it's a pretty wide range of the answers you could get. The two questions I'm sure you've heard if you've listened to the other ones is,
Yeah.
do you have any conspiracy theories or anything that you believe in, or just enough to make you think, oh? And then, do you have any paranormal or maybe ghostly activities that this definitely happened to me? Or for both of the questions, you could say, nah, sick boy, never.
Um. So I do have like things I can touch on for conspiracies. So
Okay.
I'll start with that.
Okay.
Um. One, the CIA and the mafia killed John F. Kennedy. I'm sorry. Like that. I just have
Okay.
to.
I can buy
That's a
that one.
fact. And like I guess one of like so there's two things I truly believe in. One, I think is a more realistic one, is how like the really rich of this world are the ones controlling. They're funding our politicians. They're funding bigger other companies. They're funding tech developments. They're funding what gets thrown to you on your cell phone, because it's companies want to make more money off of you. It's a millionaire trying to make another million. That I will stand by that. I don't know if it's
Okay.
a conspiracy, but it's kind of conspiracy-ish.
Right.
And the one that's really like kind of crazy is, I think, beyond presidents and world leaders, there's an elite of people. Maybe it is just richer people that are just really really quiet and we do not know about. Uh, and they're the ones moving the pawns.
So you think out of all like the decisions that happen in the world, it comes down to maybe a select few of people who really kind of
I,
set things in motion?
I yeah, because I don't. It's hard with everything going on in the world. It is hard for me to believe that we are functioning as a society with all like the stuff going around.
Right.
Because I don't think, regardless who you believe in, like a single president has enough power to keep the world at bay and keep world peace and whatnot. I think there's a group that's in charge of all that. But you could easily counterattack my point. I just like to think that.
Okay, so very government oriented weirdness. I think a lot of people
Uh,
can get on that train. I think a lot of people agree with that.
yeah.
And then what was
Um,
do you have any paranormal weird stuff that might have happened?
I do have two stories, but it's like dreams. There's nothing paranormal that's ever happened to me, even though I'm a very scared and skittish guy. I heard when on Penguins episode, Crawdaddy, you were like very scared of horror stuff.
Dude,
I I just recorded a horror game before this podcast, and I was so scared. I even turned the lights off. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm 19 years old. I'll
Oh,
admit it. Stand with my chest proudly. But even though I'm very skittish, never had nothing happen. But I have had like weird like dreams as a child. One
okay.
of them is like I'm sleeping on the bunk bed with my brother, and I'm very dude. I can't remember if I was at the top or the bottom. I think I was at the top, right? I'm at the top of the bunk bed. And then I just, when you start going to sleep, your mind just dozes off, right?
Right.
And then my eyes are open. I just look at the ceiling and there's a little light in the corner of the room. So it's not totally dark. And I just phase through my bed
Okay.
and I regain consciousness on the bottom of the bunk, you know?
Ah,
And I mean, it's probably something like I mixed nights or
right, right.
or maybe I got up and my brother and I switched because that would happen, I think. But there's just this image that I have of me phasing through the bed, and I had that image ever since it happened.
Very weird.
And the other thing is like I go to bed, I'm like, bro, 3 years old. I start dreaming and life starts happening like as usual. And then I never wake up when like I'm in the middle of my dream, it's the middle of the day, and I'm at my grandparents' house. I'm there and it's reality. And I just never woke up and like I'm in that timeline now. Does that make sense?
Sort of. Tyler, do you get it? I kind of got lost.
yeah, he's saying he went to sleep, but he's still living the dream almost.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah,
okay.
I never got up from that dream. I
You never
remember
remember waking
being
up.
we went to the grandparents' house and they were like in the fields. It was very open. It was the middle of the day. And then consciousness regains. I'm in the middle of the parking lot. It's sunny. I cover my eyes. I'm like, what the? And then I'm about to go tell my dad about this, and he's like, okay, this is he's not gonna believe me. And I've been living that timeline since. So probably I got really tired and I didn't realize I was actually woken up. But these are just funny stories of me, semi-conscious, seeing funny things, I guess.
That's some Inception sounded stuff, like going deeper within dreams, getting lost in them. Very
But that
interesting.
that that made me have an existential crisis, like as a child. Like
Well,
I
that's a
didn't know,
great way
like
to end the episode.
yeah. uh,
All right.
dude,
Well, Jay lost his mind. Oh, go ahead.
no, just thank you guys for having me on. This was awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy you had a good time. We finally got to get you down and have an interview, so we'll definitely do one moving on in the future. Um, yeah, I believe that's it. Tyler, you got anything you want, or the two of you? I'll leave it to the two of you. I'll say Jay first because I know that you do. Do you have any stuff that you want to plug or bring up that's coming up in the future?
Uh, I'm working on an album, and go watch my song "Milk in a Bag" official release.
Did you have anything you wanted to speak about with that trailer that you and Wonder put out?
Uh,
Or
actually,
not yet.
I'm more of a side character on this. That's all I'll say. But
Okay.
definitely go subscribe to Wonderwacked, subscribe to Sick Boy, subscribe to Exo Penguin. We're gonna do a crazy Minecraft series. It's gonna be awesome. And listen to Milk in a Bag.
Tyler, you got anything? Any last words?
don't forget to subscribe to Crawdaddy.
Yeah.
Anyways, R.I.P. PD.
R.I.P. PD. Same old, same old. All right, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Barely Noticed podcast, and we will see you in the next one. See ya.
Later.
Bye bye.